Let's refine it further. Let's refine it further.
We'll make it mad, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch, where passion meets. From the start to the top, we can't be beat. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track.
Let's refine it further.
We Mike and Matt, lead the way.
Let's refine it further.
We're here to stay. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track.
Let's refine it further. Let's refine it further.
Always on track. We'll make it back. With a clutch, double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track.
Yo, what's good, everybody, man? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Double Clutch.
What up, people? What's good, man? It's good to be on here, man.
Yes, sir. We got some special guests in the building. We got Dustin and Jamie, Double Clutch Patreon members. Y'all introduce yourself.
Yes, sir.
I'm Dustin. This is my wife, Jamie, and we're, I guess you could call us snake-obsessed people. We go to pretty much any show that's drivable from Reno. We hit them all.
That's what we do for fun, I guess, these days.
So talk about what kind of animals y'all been picking up lately, and how long you been in it, all that good stuff.
Well, a little less than 2 years. And funny thing is that and I've heard some stories like this before. That a couple of years ago, I was scared of snakes. And I wouldn't like kill them or anything, but when I found one in the backyard, it was like a whole ordeal. Jamie wasn't here, and so I'm trying to like get this thing, out of the backyard, and just freaking out the whole time. And then fast forward a few months, and Jamie found one back in our back pantry room, and the poor guy was stuck in a snap trap and a glue trap at the same time.
Oh wow!
Was still alive. So
yeah, I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
I picked him up to get him off of it, and he started moving, so I'm like, oh no, I gotta get him off of here. And well, now he lives in a tank over there.
Okay.
And what kind of snake did you say it was?
He's a gopher snake.
Okay. And so that's kind of what kicked it off.
Yeah,
that was the first one.
It's what started me like breeding mice and stuff, because obviously he's wild. It was in September that I found him, and I thought, well, if his neck isn't broken, he'll eat. So I had to start breeding mice because he was small and I couldn't just go buy something that was the right size for him. So I had to make it. And so that started the whole breeding food for snakes. And then I thought, well, I guess we need more snakes because I have a lot of food.
She found out about because we're in Reno same with Matt. And she found out about the Carson City Expo show. So we went and checked that out, and that's where we met Matt and bought our first ball python from him. And then at that point, that was all over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. And just the clue in the listeners and the viewers and whatnot. So today's show is about like vendor and expo attendee insights. And so that's one of the reasons why we brought on Dustin and Jamie, with them being like new to the industry. We definitely want to hear kind of like their perspective on like shows and stuff like that, stuff they look for. And then obviously Matt seemed like he's been in like shows like every week almost these days. And so like definitely getting some experience in that space. So we felt like it'd be a good opportunity with it being like show season and stuff like that, to really like kind of deep dive and kind of talk about some of these topics.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think, like you said, I've been doing a lot of shows lately, but also I feel like once you're in the game for a while, you start to get your views on how the show should be kind of get tainted because you see so many different things. Like, man, after going to Pomona or after going to a Tinley, it's like, shoot, my expectations is way up here. You know what I'm saying? So to get fresh eyes like Jamie and Dustin's, I think is going to be good for the community. Though they've been to a lot of shows. The SAC show is a huge show,
Yeah.
but they're going to Pomona in January. I know, right?
Yeah.
And so they haven't been to those big ones, the Pomonas and those ones yet. So we'll be able to get that bird's eye view, or that first person view on how, as somebody coming in to buy at a show, what they're looking for. So I think this is going to be a good show for sure. I'm excited to dive into this one.
So Matt, real quick,
Yeah.
with you having vended shows for, it's been what, 2 years now you've been vending shows roundabout?
Yeah, two or
3?
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah.
Okay. So talk about kind of like when you went into vending shows, kind of like what your mindset was, like your mentality, and talk about how that's like changed over time and like what led to those changes and kind of like what you implemented to get here.
Oh man, so I just when I first started, it was my first show was going to be my local show. I heard about it and I'm like, okay, so I wanted to be. I knew I wasn't gonna have no Bob Boo set up because I had already been to Tinley by that time. I had already seen, what that was like and what those displays were like. And so I knew I wasn't gonna come in with no deli cups because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to come in with deli cups. I definitely wanted to come in with something nice, but I couldn't afford ARS. And at that time, not Animal Plastics.
And just to clarify, you weren't saying Bob had deli cups.
No, I wasn't saying no. Bob didn't have no deli cups. No. I knew I didn't want to come in with deli cups after seeing Bob's display for sure. What was I saying? I found acrylic designs on Facebook, and they were advertising their 3-tier display system or whatever, and theirs was a little bit cheaper than ARS's, but it's acrylic all the way around instead of the glass tops. So the tops do get scratches after you abrasive scratches, wiping them down and stuff like that. But I decided to go with those guys, and yeah, man. I mean, when I went in, I went in all the way. I bought a banner, bought some stands with banners on them, and we went full-fledged into it.
Okay. So Dustin, Jamie, like when y'all go into shows, kind of like going into, like, for example, y'all mentioned y'all bought y'all first snake from Matt. So talk about that experience and talk about what led to you buying your first snake from Matt and what kind of like drew you to Matt's booth.
Well, when we first walked in the show, I've never been to one before, so I thought it was going to be like everyone's just showing off stuff that they had. I didn't know you could actually go in and start buying stuff. So when you walk in, it was a little overwhelming because you had just all the tables and all the banners and all that stuff. But I do remember we had a clear line of sight from the front door to Matt's booth where he was at that show. And I remember sitting there waiting for the door to open and then just kind of peeking through the windows, just all excited. Wait, let me in. And, so we just kind of went down the line and then ended up at his. And I will say, one thing that kind of for me personally draws my attention is your banner. That's because that's really the first thing that you're going to see from a distance.
It's usually how I look for the banners for like breeders that I've heard about or seen on podcasts and stuff. So yeah. I guess that would be the first thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of like flags up in the air to identify where you're at, because especially like the Sacramento show, with it being as big as it is, that you're trying to scan the whole area when you walk in, and yeah, you have the booth up front that has the paper to tell you where everybody's at and who's there and everything, but still, it's just I would assume is just something that happens with most people, that your eyes are drawn to something flashy. So if you've got something that's big and bold or bright or something to that effect, that's gonna, immediately draw your, people's attention. And that's kind of how we ended up at Matt's in the first show.
Gotcha. All right. So nice banner, something to draw your attention, something to pull you in. And so that gets you to the table. Then let's talk about what happens once you get to the table.
Obviously, personality, conversations, that kind of stuff. That's a big thing. I mean, with me specifically, I'm an electrical contractor, so I deal with multiple customers every day. And it's one thing that I've always tried to work on through my career is that back and forth. And for some people, like for us specifically, we're both, kind of introverted type people, like to stay home, and, we don't go out and get crazy all the time, but you have to learn how to talk to people. And, you have to have that professionalism, but you also have that welcoming kind of vibe to you. And Matt's got that down perfect. And a lot of vendors that we've met and, kind of sort of become pseudo friends with, they have that, like, you don't feel like you're talking to somebody who's irritated with you or just trying to make a sale, that kind of stuff. Cause that really, I can't stand that. When the minute somebody just gives me that impression that you don't care about actually having a conversation about the snakes, you just want my money, then I'm out.
Yeah, I noticed at the last show, that was a big thing for me, was the welcoming personalities. There were some people who just stood behind the table and didn't even smile. And I just kind of kept walking because I didn't really, I don't know. I'm all about learning. I like to feel comfortable asking questions, and I don't feel that way when people aren't welcoming.
Yeah, I think that's the, at least from the vendor side, that's really important to be able to, talk to people. But I don't think I've ever been more tired. And I think some people underestimate it when they think about, okay, well, I'm a vendor show, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other. They underestimate the energy it takes to talk to people. Because granted, I feel the same way. Like, if you're not gonna talk to me, then, and spark a conversation, I'm more than likely not gonna buy from you unless I don't see that animal anywhere else in the show, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you got something that's just, crazy out of this world and I can't find it anywhere else, then okay, you might be able to get away with being just a little bit off-putting because at the end of the day, I need that animal for my collection. But if not, I just, you got to be able to talk to people. And I know when I did Pomona for the first time in January, and I did it by myself and my wife didn't come, and I was down there that weekend. We sold 32 or 35 snakes, right? Oh, my thumb just did a thumbs up on the thing. We did 32 or 35 snakes. And that was mentally, when I got back home, I slept. That Saturday night, my wife was mad at me after the show because usually I'll call her after a show when I'm gone and won't talk on the phone or whatever. That Saturday night, I went to the room and crashed out and did not wake up. And then the same thing that Sunday, I just got in the car, drove back home, and I was dead for like 2 days, just mentally drained, from having to talk to people and have conversations with people. So, it does take work, but it's needed work and rewarding work if you do it the right way, for sure.
Yeah, big facts. I would say too, like even like with the example you just gave in the terms of like somebody having like a killer animal that you need, you can't get it elsewhere and you still buy it, you probably still not likely to recommend that person to somebody because you didn't have a good experience, and you probably not likely to come back unless it's really those same extenuating circumstances again, and it just means that person has an animal in the project. But word of mouth is like one of the best advertising things you can do, you know what I'm saying? And so like you giving poor service, even though you got like dope animals, obviously, yes, the animals speak for themselves. And in some cases, when you got like those special banger animals, they're going to sell themselves, but you still kind of cutting yourself short. I think if you're not being personable with people, if you're not offering good customer service, you can't just have the best animals. If you want to get like a really good reputation, then you need to throw some customer service in there as well. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, because we know the odd gods, and you ain't gonna always have the best animal, and you you know what I'm saying. And that's it's very you know, with as many people that breed ball pythons, you more than likely you ain't gonna be the only one that got it. You know.
Facts.
So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that what you said. We've been to, I don't know, probably 10 or 12 shows over the last year and a half. And yeah, after a while, you start seeing the same stuff. And occasionally you get that really cool, you know, something special. But yeah, there's like what you said, Matt, that if you, the animals will set you apart to an extent, but your presentation, your customer service, all that stuff, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Like the last Carson show that a couple weeks ago, there was half the people had really nice setups, and the other half looked like they just, you know, would have just rather pulled their pickup truck in and drop the tailgate and throw a towel down. And it was, pretty wild. It was like my back at the swap meet back in the 80s.
Mike, it was awful, bro. It was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I don't like it. And like when you see those deli cups, like with the net thrown across it, I don't really like that. I'm not gonna even lie.
Yeah, I don't. And it's just, as a vendor, I feel like to do a show properly, it's just, all that screams to me is that when you got to have 1,000 deli cups in that net, all that screams to me is that you just bought them animals in from somebody else. You just, you know, what do you call it when you just buy it from a wholesale distributor?
To a wholesale?
Yeah, yeah. And you buy it from a wholesale distributor. Now you're just trying to flip these animals. That's all that screams to me. That's all that you know. And I'm not trying to deal with diseases and random stuff being brought into the house.
Yeah, I will say there's a couple vendors that do that I know that that's not the case for them, but they just have so many animals that they're selling. Like, I don't know if they can even get a display that can handle what they have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Geckos, etc. is always at Sacramento, and they have a huge spread of hognose and geckos and stuff like that. So with that one, yeah, it does make sense. But yeah, some of the
you can tell. You can
tell for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with wholesale per se. Like, I've sold animals wholesale. I haven't bought anything wholesale. I don't think there's anything wrong with wholesale, like buying stuff and like selling it at shows and stuff like that. But still, the presentation matters. You know what I mean? Because it reflects on your brand. Is impacting the people who come in by seeing it and stuff like that. And so, why wouldn't you want to put yourself out there in a way that reflects positively on your brand?
Yeah. And I mean, like, again, with the Geckos, etc. one, like, I know that they're a family owned, family operated, they breed all their own stuff and all that. I feel like they're the exception for that. I noticed in Sacramento, a lot of the mismatched kind of sized little deli cups and different random animals. I started asking, like, are some of these imported? Because the prices reflect that and their setup reflects that. And I kind of avoided it.
Yeah, like Matt, you were talking about the acrylic, you know, 3-tier display cases and stuff like that. That's those setups, like I like those better.
They just look nice
because they're
clean, they're
professional looking. Usually the lights and everything over the top of them kind of makes the things pop, you know, depending on what you got in there. But I mean, we've definitely come across quite a few vendors that, even though they have those, there's either no lighting or they're dirty or, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, did you even clean this before you just put the snakes in here? And then you know, it's like, if this is, and Jamie, she said it perfectly one time. We were talking about it, and she's like, well, if this is how they're going to display their animals at the show, what the hell are they doing at home?
Right.
Public.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that like accidents not gonna happen. I mean, to be clear, I haven't been to the show in terms of like selling animals and stuff, but like I understand that like some things can't happen, like an animal can poop and stuff like that. Obviously, you see it, you want to clean it up. That's why like a lot of vendors like want time at the beginning of the show to like clean up stuff that's happened overnight, so they can put their brand out there in the best way possible. And so like little stuff like that's gonna happen, but it's kind of like when you don't take any steps to fix whatever's happened, and it's just kind of like sitting there looking crazy, like you said, like the acrylic displays like all dirty. Like, did you even attempt to clean this or whatever? So I definitely totally get that.
Well, it's like I noticed a lot of animals in the acrylic setups with no base, like no substrate, not even a paper towel, just a little snake on a plastic surface. Like,
or I've seen a couple of where it looked like they were using the substrate from multiple shows. Like this is one thing, if you walk up and there's a little poop or something in there, that's understandable. But when the display looks like you haven't even wiped it out, and then you've got dirty substrate in there, I mean, I assume that's just you just haven't taken any care into cleaning it and keeping the animals healthy and stuff like that.
What else have you seen that grinds your gears at shows?
Eggs.
Eggs?
I had my first experience with, I'm not going to name names,
but
it was at the Sacramento show, and it was a breeder that I'd seen in the past at a previous Sacramento show.
Yeah,
and he has, and he's got a lot of cool, morphs and snakes and stuff like that. But this time he had 4 or 5 eggs just sitting right on top in a display. They were just cut open. The babies were still in the eggs, and it was just we avoided
saw
his
that,
booth the
and
entire
I
weekend.
Turned him around and was like, "We're going to go over here and look at this instead."
Oh, that's crazy.
That was just unacceptable.
So
I'm just curious. I'm not saying that it makes a difference, but I'm curious. Were they for sale?
Yes.
I don't remember if they were. I thought they were.
I'm fairly certain.
Either way, they were just sitting in there with nothing under them. They were just in the acrylic case, just eggs sitting in there. There's no paper towels. There was nothing like.
If it's the one I saw, they weren't for sale. His weren't for sale. I don't know how many. I've seen this happen more than, going all these.
What was the purpose of it?
I seen it at Pomona. I seen it at Pomona. I seen it at Sac now twice. Where else did I see that at? There might have been the only 2 that I seen it at, that they were still inside the egg.
So what's the purpose of that? I'm confused.
So the dude who I talked to brought his. He said he just using it as an educational type piece to show the process of it, which I get. I mean, I think. With all because you guys know I do educational shows. So with all the educational shows I do, I would love to, how do I say this? Be able to do something like that. But at the same time, the biosecurity to me outweighs the positive of that educational experience for somebody. That to me is something you're going to have to catch on my YouTube channel. Because I can't see myself doing that. Putting eggs into the car that's cut or whatever, and all the jittering around that's going on within the egg now and all that kind of stuff. And just the biosecurity of, you let anything, even when the coolest thing this past weekend was I came home and the whole clutch was cut out. They crawled out of the egg on their own. All 9 eggs was out and on the thing. And I always get scared even when I see one pip. When I cut, I always try to cover that lid back up as soon as possible because I get scared something's gonna fly in one of the eggs and some bacteria gonna grow, and then the next thing I know, I got a dead animal inside the egg before it comes out. So that part I can see the negative about it, and it's good to hear from people who aren't breeders who what their thought process is on it, because a lot of breeders will say that that's bad, but it's good to see that what the opinion of people that are not breeders would say that.
One thing I know about hatching, I used to breed chickens for show.
Right, yeah.
Humidity is a huge thing. And there's for chicken eggs, the last 3 days, it's called lockdown. You're not supposed to touch them. You're supposed to up the humidity to 90% so that they can make it out of the egg so that the membrane doesn't freeze wrap or shrink wrap around them.
Right.
Those eggs could not have been in appropriate humidity.
Right.
And babies weren't even out yet. So
Well, and with that particular instance, I may have been mistaken. Maybe they weren't for sale and maybe just for education. But either way, a year ago, I wouldn't have known any better. But, you know, we've obviously tried to learn as much as we can about, you know, husbandry and care and proper, you know, everything about taking care of the reptiles. So now knowing that all of this stuff and with the humidity and the temperatures and all that stuff, that's really what pissed me off. It was just like you as, especially as a breeder, you should know better that this isn't safe for the animal.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely, like I said, I would never do it. I got what he was saying about the education. I would never take that risk. I just could. I brought some to the what show? The Reagan show last week, 2 weekends ago, that I hatched out of the egg the week prior to. So they were all having their first sheds at the show. But they had all been out the egg for, you know, a few days or whatever, and you know, absorbing their yolk and this and the other. And so a few of them had their first sheds at the show, and I brought them because I wanted Rich from Capital City to see them and tell me what he thought about them. But that's about as far as I could go. I don't think I could ever step out of my snake room with an egg that has a snake in it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Anything else that you guys have seen that has thrown you guys completely off while you're at a show?
I think it's mostly the cleanliness.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
I mean, honestly, we're at this point we're such addicts. Even when you see the table, that's just like, wow, did you did you even put any effort into your display? It still doesn't necessarily matter to us. We hit every table. I mean, when we go to Sacramento show, it's a 2-hour drive from our place, so we get a hotel room. We make a weekend out of it. You know, we just love it so much that we'll go and we'll hit everything, usually 4 or 5 times. Which actually gives me a question for vendors, because we are those you know, obsessed people that will come in and we'll make our rounds and kind of check everything out. And I'm making notes on my phone of, okay, well, this snake over here and this snake over here, and I want to circle back and we're going to figure out what we're going to get this in this trip. And we'll go and we'll have multiple conversations with the same vendors over the course of the weekend. And from your guys' perspective, like, we may talk to you 2 or 3 times over a day or two, and unfortunately, you know, money is limited with most people. So even though we want to buy everything, we can't. If we come up and you know, spend 15-20 minutes talking to you, and then come back later in the afternoon and talk to you again, and then we end up not buying anything from you, from your perspective, like, what is that? Does that upset you guys, or what do you think?
No, I think this is a job you signed up for. Like I said, that time when last year in January, Pomona, when we moved those 30+ animals, you better believe I talked to 100 people. Like, it wasn't, you know, I talked to 30 people and those 30 people bought animals. Or if they bought multiple, it was talking and talking and talking. And I don't know, to me, that's part of the job. I mean, believe it or I mean, whether people want to make it seem like it or not, this is a sales game, and you know what I'm saying? And so I could walk into AT&T right now and tell them I want a brand new phone and try it out, let me see it, play with it for 30 minutes and talk to the guy about this phone plan he gonna give me and the discounts he gonna give me, and then walk right up out of there and be like, nah, I'm good, you know? And you know, that just comes with the territory. If that makes you mad as a vendor, then that's, you know, maybe you got to check yourself. Now, if you as a vendor if all you get in this conversation, then you got to check, there's a lot of parts to it, right? You got to, how do you close the sale? How do you, you know what I'm saying? Are you going to hard close this sale? You're going to soft, like, you got to read the person who you're talking to. Is this somebody that they say something about this snake that I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go ahead and take this snake out and put this snake in your hand and make this hard sale. Or am I going to say, let me just keep on having this conversation with you. You're good, da, da, da. So there's a lot of different, you know, there's, like we always say, there's art to every science, you know what I'm saying? And so, but yeah, if it makes you mad as a vendor, then yeah, I don't know what you came to the show expecting, because everybody that come up to your table, you know, they want to talk, but everybody ain't trying to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, a couple questions off of that, and then also a real quick comment. I was gonna say the same thing as far as like it being a sales, like it's just part of what you're doing. Some folks gonna buy, some folks are not. But Matt, you mentioned something about letting people hold animals, and then like a question I had before that though, for you two is, are you guys more likely to try to like negotiate a deal at a show than like you would be like on Morph Market or something, or does it the dynamic not change for y'all?
Personally, I'm not a negotiator. I respect what these breeders are putting into the animals and usually what they have it priced at. I'm either willing to pay that or I'm not. Any of the deals that we've got, it's just been a super awesome bonus from awesome people who we've chatted with on and off. And
yeah, there's definitely been a few times, and we're talking to the vendor, and we're discussing a specific snake or two, and it's like, well, we also have, and I don't know, it's not like a sales tactic, it's just our honest what's going through with us while we're looking at what we're going to buy, is that we've got potentially 7-8 snakes that we've found that we're interested in, and we're only going to try and take home 2 or 3. So when we're talking to somebody and it's like, they're like, oh yeah. And of course, you want to make the sale. So I appreciate the back and forth with them, and we'll tell them that, well, we've got our eye on this and this and this and this. And then they're like, all right, well, I'll make you a deal. And at that point, because I'm the same way, I don't like to haggle. It's the price is what the price, and if I'm willing to pay it, I will. If I'm not, I won't. I don't like bargaining personally. I don't do it on Morph Market, and I don't do it at the shows. But if the vendor says, hey, let's discuss this, and I'll give you a good deal, then I'll engage in a little back and forth and see where it ends up. And yeah, 3 or 4 times here we've ended up getting some really good deals on snakes.
That's what's up, man. Everybody definitely not like that. Like, there's some people that'll tell you about, oh man, the market's not good, you should have it at this, and like, all right, well, go get it from somebody else. Hey, but let's take a real quick sponsor break, and then Matt, I'll come back with my biosecurity question.
For sure.
Experience the epitome of elegance and excellence with Reagan Renee Rural Pythons. Working projects like DG Krypton and DG Clown, you can place your bets on quality and let Reagan Renee be your winning hand. Expect innovation and unmatched customer service with every interaction. Elevate your collection with the finest quality ball pythons. Visit them on Instagram and Morph Market. Discover the extraordinary at Reagan Renee Rural Pythons. Step into a world where dreams take shape with Ozzy, a true leader in the reptile industry. Known for unparalleled customer service and a dedication to excellence, Ozzy sets the standard. His cutting-edge projects continue to inspire and push the boundaries of what's possible. Submerge yourself in a future full of possibilities. Join the journey, embrace the innovation, and above all, keep dreaming. All right, so earlier, bro, you mentioned letting people handle your snakes, and like, I haven't personally vended yet, and so like, that's one of the things that I'm trying to like get my head wrapped around in terms of like what's going to be my practice as it relates to like letting people hold the snakes. And like, and I kind of see the pros and cons of both, but for me, like, all the cons are on like the biosecurity side, and then the pros are on kind of like the sales side, stuff like that. And so like, it's just kind of like weighing the risk, weighing all that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts on it, and kind of how did you come to that thought process?
So what I started doing, so my thoughts before were like, it went back and forth. So when I first started vending, I would allow, if somebody was like, hey, can I see this, whatever, I'll take it out. Because prior to going to shows, my setup was I always run a snake through not Prevenamite. Oh my gosh, it is it's a reptile, the reptile spray. The
reptile spray.
Yeah, so I run them through reptile spray in my hands. Are sprayed in the glove. Run them through that, and then put them in the tub, right? And then even when I'm at shows, when I set up, I'll take my bottle of reptile spray and spray it on the table and around me on the floor. right? So that way, if something happens to be there, whatever. And the reason I learned this is because 2 years ago, how to spread everywhere was because I did catch mites from a show, but the vendor right across from me had a Burmese python that might have been like 8 foot that was covered in mites. So it didn't come from anybody holding the snake or anything like that. It came from that vendor, the opposite side of me. Um, but when it comes to people holding them, we have now put into play. We have a sign on our table that says, due to the health of the animals and their health and welfare, we do not take animals out unless people are purchasing them. Right. What that has done is that has stopped, all the little kids that want to hold a snake. If they do want to hold one, I do have, the adults that I'm bringing there to sell, that I will choose one adult that I'm going to take out for that whole weekend. And that is the snake that I will let like a kid touch if they want to touch a snake. Um, but for the most part now, the only reason I won't take out a snake is simply because, like if it's a kid and they don't have a parent around, and I just know that person's not trying to buy anything, they're just trying to see something, because what it does is it draws a whole crowd of people that just want to see something, and
Right.
then I might have somebody that walk up that actually want to buy something, and now I can't have that conversation with that person that wants to buy something, because I got a bunch of people that just want to see something or just want to touch a snake. Um, so I go back and forth about it because, like you said, the biosecurity part is real. What I just learned to do, man, is to clean everything going out and clean everything before I put it back into the rack. And that's just what I do. And I've been good. Haven't had any issues. Haven't had a mite breakout since that time I told y'all about it. It's been over a year for sure since that, about a year and a half since that last show when that happened. And yeah, man. So uh, yeah, I don't mind it. Just it's just got to be with some intent. I don't do it a lot though because like I said, I don't want to miss out on a real potential customer from people that just want to hold snakes.
That makes sense. Yeah, and it still kind of got me spooked because the only two times that I didn't have mites was from animals that I purchased at a show, right? And fortunately, I was able to catch it in quarantine or whatnot, but it was still like two animals that I bought from the show. And I'm not necessarily saying that it was that vendor themselves that had mites or brought mites to the show, because they could have got it from another vendor, or a mite could have like hitchhiked on like a person or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of ways it can get spread around at the show. And so that's why I was a little apprehensive about like just having my animals out, you know what I'm saying, like for people holding them. But I don't know, I have to figure something out. I like the way you mentioned that, like kind of like having like the ambassador animal, like this animal is designated for people to hold if they really want to hold something. And we can kind of go on like case by case basis, or whether or not it makes sense for me to pull this animal out. Adam from Proper Rules did a similar thing when I vended with him at the Lakeland show. He had like one adult animal, and like that was the animal that he would let people hold if they just wanted to hold an animal. Now, if it was somebody who was like looking to buy something, then he would probably like make an exception. But as far as like a animal that people can just hold on a routine basis, whether or not they wanted to buy or not, it was that specific animal. It was an adult. It was like real, like super docile, like all that good stuff. And so I might do something like that, like just have like a designated animal.
Yeah, and I got it. I gotta say like that helps out a lot, bro. I mean, because then when somebody's actually at your table really trying to buy something by the language they talking, and sometimes that, like I said, I just feel like maybe I might need to make this hard sell right now because they are really eyeing this animal, and I got a sign right here that says you can't touch it unless you purchase it. But I'll be like, okay, you want to see this? Let me put this in your hand. Now I unlock it, put it in their hand. And then they're like, okay, bag it up. So, it just, man, it really just depends, man. But yeah,
Yep.
you definitely do got to be careful, man. But I would say that's why even as a vendor now, when I'm seated at my table or not seated, but assigned my table, I go check out. I'm checking out everybody within, 20 feet of me. I'm visiting their tables, but then again, like I said, I'm spraying around me. Just as even if it doesn't do anything, if it actually does anything or not, my mental,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Facts. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have some speakers set up and have Alexa on deck. So someone asks and be like, Alexa, play Can't Touch This by MC Hammer.
Line on the bottom, on the ground.
They can get their parachute pants and just go out.
Right.
You know? Shoot, man.
But no, what you're talking about, Matt, with just having the one snake that you pretty much dictate is this is the whole snake. Most of these shows, they have, like Sacramento's got a huge little petting area. They the Carson show, there's always there's a yellow, I think it's
The 4-H.
yeah, the 4-H. So there's usually, if you want to just go hold something and you're not looking to buy, there's places you can go play with the animals.
Yeah.
And so as a vendor, it makes sense that your first job is to make sure that your reptiles, your animals, and all the work and everything that you've done into keeping these things safe and healthy is intact.
Right.
Right, because it's about the animals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, taking them all out, it also causes stress on the animals themselves too. We don't need to do that.
Right. Is that a bird that I hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, he woke up.
Oh no, what kind of bird is it?
He's a parrotlet. He's like the world's second smallest breed. He's about this big.
Yeah, he's 4 inches of pure fury.
He's just like a little bit. It's real squeaky, so you can't really I know what he's saying.
He pretty much hates everybody except her.
Yeah.
If I even go near that cage, he just goes right to the front. He fluffs up and just the whole freaking time. I won't even stick my hand in there anymore to try to give him water. I just because he'll try and attack me.
Is that is that the adult size?
Yeah. Yeah, he's about 6-7 years old now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
older.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they live to be pretty old, somewhere in their teens, possibly into their 20s.
Okay. Man, last weekend I learned something that I did not know. I might be like the only person that didn't know this, but I didn't know it. I didn't know ravens could talk.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Ravens could the blackbird, they
Yeah.
black. Right?
Yeah, like they can mimic human speech and like other sounds.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They can mimic not just the words, but the sounds and the tones.
Exactly.
Like they're awesome.
Exactly.
Makes me want one, but at the same time, I don't know how I get one.
Those aren't those pretty big?
They can be.
Yeah, they got some
Yeah.
nice size on them.
Yeah, they do get pretty big. Yeah, no, those just remind me of what was that book, or was it a crow in that book?
It might have been the crow. I mean, it's probably either or because both of those birds like associated with like horror and stuff like that, like all that kind of stuff like that.
I can't remember what book or movie it was when they were swarming around people or something like that.
Oh yeah, there was a movie back called The Birds back in what was that?
Exactly. Yeah, I think I might have watched that in middle school or something.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I don't do birds.
And it's like the reason like those birds got associated with that kind of stuff is because like they like super smart. And so they would learn that when they saw like soldiers and stuff like marching, like in formation, that there was going to be dead bodies nearby or unalive bodies. Don't count me, YouTube. Nearby. And so like they would be there. And so they became like associated because they scavengers, right? And so like they was looking to eat the bodies and stuff like that they would find, and they learned it to associate like the war formations and stuff like that going on with it's going to be readily available food for them to scavenge. That's crazy, bro.
Yes.
You know, they also recognize faces, and if you're mean to them,
Yeah.
they'll remember you, and they will be vindictive.
Wow.
A vindictive raven coming after me. No, thank
I mean,
you.
I try to leave them treats. I've noticed a few out there that my only male horse out there, my gelding, I think he's afraid of crows because every time they come around, he gets real like spazzy. And I've left like pennies and peanuts and stuff like that out there for them so that they're not like coming over to just be vindictive to the horse, because
You said
I'm sure he attacked them or something.
you said you leave pennies out there?
Yeah, they like shiny things.
Oh wow! Do they just pick it up and play with it?
Yeah, they'll take things. You leave them gifts, and they'll remember. They'll come back.
Yes.
Yeah, like, that's my dog right there.
I was the type of kid that wanted to put some Alka-Seltzer out there for him.
Oh no.
That's what they was doing. That's what we was doing as kids on the beach, messing with seagulls and stuff.
Oh man. Moral of the story, you don't want no smoke with no ravens.
No, I don't mess with
Thank
no
you.
Want
birds.
that. Not at all.
No
You will
more.
remember who you are forever.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Like I did not know that, like, at all.
Yeah.
When I heard somebody say it, I was like, I don't believe that. So I looked it up and it's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're really cool animals.
Cool. So
Can I make him stop?
anything else you guys can think of as far as like the shows and stuff like that? Did we touch on everything we wanted to touch on, or did we leave something out?
Got my cheat sheet down here. I'm just double checking.
I would like to know what are you I mean, you guys told us the displays and all that. Is there anything prior to that you guys look into to learn about a vendor before it is you guys go down there? What are you know what I'm saying, or that gives you an idea of the vendors that you might want to see that you don't already have a relationship with?
Yeah, I mean, podcasts are a huge thing for me. If I see an interview or listen to something while I'm driving and I recognize a name, I usually check the vendor lists on the websites, like who's going to attend the shows and stuff like that. And I'll recognize a name that I've either heard or seen on a podcast. And I'll make it a point to write it down and look for them to just kind of see what they've got.
Yeah, when
That's my pre-show research usually.
when the show releases all the names of the vendors and stuff, we'll go through and kind of take a look. And if there's somebody that we don't know, we'll look them up. Like I'll check out on
Morph Market.
Yeah, Morph Market,
often.
Instagram, stuff like that. See, if they've got anything out there that shows like what they might be bringing.
Mhm.
Gotcha. And before we wrap up, I do want to talk about like what y'all doing like ball python wise right now. Just so folks know like what projects and stuff you're working on. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit the other night on the Patreon Zoom call. But given that it's gonna be like public facing, I want to make sure people know like what y'all working with and kind of like what y'all goals are and stuff like that. So talk about that a little bit and kind of where you're going with this, with the ball python side of it, or just the reptile side of it in general.
You want to start?
I got a lot of ideas, projects. My favorites are always the Xanthics, the Pieds. Xanthic in pretty much anything, if I can get it in there. Lately, I've noticed the zebra genes, and I'm starting to do a little research on that. I think I want to get a couple of those in the near future. The other half is hognose. So I'm slowly building my collection of hognose and planning my projects with those. I'm doing a lot. I'm mostly into like the moonbeam projects. That's like lavender and Arctic, and the sunburst, which is sable, albino, stuff like that. Sable and albino combinations.
The hognose is really her. I mean, they're cool and I really like them, but I'm just more into the ball pythons. But first and foremost, everybody sign up for the Double Clutch Patreon, because I'm already getting some awesome information in there.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Which on the last call about everything, we were discussing breeding plants and stuff like that. And I have a couple projects that I'm just trying to make. Like I saw some stuff and I was like, well, if you take that and then you put it in this, and then maybe I'll get like a really cool looking snake that I can have as a pet and put in one of these cases behind us here. But after talking to you guys on the call about it, you were explaining to me that like Cypress and Champagne are from the same line, so it could cause a lot of potential issues. And that was something I didn't even know about, because I'm still trying to learn myself a lot about the genetics and breeding and stuff like that, to make sure that whatever we do, we're not risking any in the health of the snakes. But so just changing up plans and trying to come up with
learning
with like a good project, like not get into, we need to go buy another rack again, even though we probably do, because we've already freaking loaded up. But
It'd be like that.
Yeah, I was scheming on like, how do we build a building in the back and just like that be for, the breeders, and then all the pets are in the house, whatever.
If you do build a building, I know a guy that does some electric work. So
Yeah. The problem is right now I got to do a bunch of concrete work, and I'm 44 and I've been in construction almost 25 years. My back doesn't like doing that stuff anymore, and, so I kind of drag my feet. But I really need to get off my ass and get it done.
I think we've reached that pinnacle point in our age where we're starting to hire people more.
Okay, I understand that.
But you know how it is. It's like, well, okay, we got this money set aside, but there's a snake show coming up, so we might need to take a little bit of this budget and put over in this budget.
Yeah,
yep.
They are true. Even for the listeners that's catching this on the premiere or the replay game, they are true. What do you call it? Pet owners first, right? They came into you can see behind them, they got the enclosures and all that kind of stuff. They got a whole room decked out with just enclosures. So you guys didn't even get your first tubs until the last Carson show, right? In the spring?
Yeah.
So they finally got some tubs in the spring. I convinced them to get some tubs because they just kept on buying, stacking enclosures, stacking 4x2s on top of 4x2s. I'm like, man, if y'all don't get some tubs. So they finally got a rack. Well, they got a few that weekend actually. So yeah, man. So they are true pet. They didn't just come into the hobby just to sell pretty snakes. They came in because they love the animals. So it's good.
Nice.
That's first and foremost. I'm constantly improving their enclosures and adding things here and there, new lights, new thermometers, new plants, whatever.
Well, and they're beautiful animals. I mean, and that's what really has gotten me specifically into the ball pythons is that, people say, oh, it's overdone. There's too many, there's all this, there's all that. It's like, but they're little
so
pieces
cool,
of artwork, and I love them all. And
right.
It's like, Ron White had a joke about back in the day about, once you see one woman naked, you want to see them all naked. And it's like, well, once I see one ball python, I want to see all the ball pythons. And because they're just so cool. So, it's awesome. You can't go to any side of our house without coming across a tank with a snake in it.
Our entertainment center is full of hognose.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys' hognose journey for sure. Because I've thought about those, and the wife one and one, and she was like, I want to do a hognose breeding project, until I told her that the females sometimes eat the males if you don't watch them. And so, she was like, okay, never mind, I'm done with that.
Yeah. So they can be a little high maintenance like that, but it's not as common as you would think.
Right, okay. Yeah.
But it happens.
Yeah.
It definitely happens. I've seen it with the bigger breeders, the bigger hognose breeders. It happens often. The more you get, the more probably the other happening is it gets higher. So
that's good. Well, yeah, man, we appreciate y'all for coming on with us today. Talking about, for all you vendors out there, future vendors, take some insight and listen to what people that are coming to the shows are wanting to see from your table, your booth, your display, your presentation, your conversation. All that kind of stuff is important as a vendor if you want to get out there and sell snakes. Otherwise, you will be taking back home everything that you brought out to the show. And that's just the way it is, and nobody wants to do that. I know every time I pack up them snakes and put them in them displays, I'm like, I'm praying for all y'all not to come back home. None of y'all back home.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to clean that tub out without a piece of snake back in it. So definitely appreciate you guys' insight for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it's valuable insight, especially like y'all just like really, really starting to like get into it like heavily now, man. So it's super valuable to get that insight from someone like just coming in, and so seeing first impressions and seeing it from that perspective. So definitely appreciate y'all coming in, man, and appreciate the shout out for the Patreon too. Appreciate y'all joining, man. It's been a blast, man. And
Thanks for having us. Yeah, this was awesome.
We're constantly learning, and like you guys are our source of that. Like you're never done learning.
Yeah.
For sure.
It was
Yeah.
awesome, helping Matt out with his rat shed, being able to kind of bounce some ideas off him and get some better, idea of, direction on where to go.
Yeah.
Thanks. So everybody, man, we appreciate y'all. Like we mentioned earlier, this is going to be premiered. So this obviously isn't a live episode. So big shout out to everybody who catches the premiere. Big shout out to everybody who catches the replay. Big shout out to everybody who checks us out on the audio only podcast platforms, because the show is available on all major audio podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, all that good stuff, man. Really appreciate it. But that's going to do it for tonight's show. Anything else you got, bro? You good?
Tap in the double clutch, man. Hop onto the Patreon. It's fun. We having a lot of fun learning and growing. I want to say we had like 22 members right now, and it's growing. And we're just having a lot of fun. Great conversation. Everything from experienced breeders that got 7-8 years in the game to people who are just now coming in, like Jamie and Dustin, and buying up stuff and going to shows and excited about shows, and looking to start having hopefully their first clutches here within the next year or so. And so we should it's great, man. Come join the Patreon fam. Come check us out and see what it is that you could offer us, and we can offer you, and you could offer us, because we learn from y'all as well. We just try to give y'all whatever it is you need.
Us new people need the support of more experienced people like you. It's a really great community to be a part of.
Yeah, that it really is. Like, everybody that we've gotten to know, they're just super good people, and it's been awesome.
We appreciate y'all, man. It's been a lot of fun, man. Definitely looking forward to like continuing to go on.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So that's gonna do it for tonight's episode for Double Clutch. I'm Mike. That's the homie Matt. That's Dustin and Jamie. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming out. Be blessed. Peace.
Peace out.
With Mike and Matt, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch where passion meets. From the start to the top, you can't be beat. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. With Mike and Matt, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch where passion meets. From the start to the top, we can't be beat. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, always on track. With Mike and Matt, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch, where passion meets. From the start to the top, we can't be beat. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Clutch, always on track. Clutch, always on track. With Mike and Matt, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch where passion meets. From the start to the top, we can't be beat. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. With Mike and Matt, we lead the way. In the reptile world, we're here to stay. Double clutch, where passion meets. From the start to the top, we can't be beat. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Double clutch, with Mike and Matt. Double clutch, it's where it's at. Double clutch, we lead the pack. Double clutch, always on track. Always on track.